What are some simple yet incredibly disturbing / scary facts? 1/3 of US murders go unsolved. That's a relief. If a panda finds a fresh carcass, they'll eat it. If given access to it, butterflies will happily drink blood. Bruh, if this is true, that's metal AF. SpongeBob and Patrice were right to be scared. Cotard syndrome, also called walking corpse syndrome, is a condition wherein the patient believes they are dead, dying, missing parts of their bodies, or don't exist. Some people with Cotard syndrome may stop speaking or eating, since they believe they're dead. I'm friends with a professor of soil ecology here in the Midwest. She says that, if we don't change our current farming practices, much of the Midwest soil will be infertile with 1 to 2 generations. If you live in a major city, there is a nuke aimed at you. Statistically speaking, the most dangerous person to any child is their stepfather. Despite literally all war propaganda from every country saying otherwise, you are not going to make an individual impact in glorious battle and die valiantly in a hail of bullets. Statistically, you are overwhelmingly more likely to be killed by an explosive device launched miles away by a vehicle you will never see, long before you ever get a chance to pull the trigger. 1 to 3% of your mass is made up of bacteria. Body integrity disorder. The PubMed Gov website describes it as the extremely rare phenomenon of persons who desire the amputation of one or more healthy limbs, or who desire a paralysis. Adding, some of these persons mutilate themselves. Others ask surgeons for an amputation, or for the transection of their spinal cord. Psychologists and physicians explain this phenomenon in quite different ways, but a successful psychotherapeutic or pharmaceutical therapy is not known. The entire planet could be immediately destroyed by any one of a number of cosmic events that we have no way of seeing or stopping, like rogue black holes. Worse, there are some events we can very much see coming, but do absolutely nothing about. I read somewhere once that like 15% of cell phones have poop on them. I would say 100%. Poo particles are fucking everywhere. The world invests more money in Viagra and Botox than in the study of Alzheimer. There are people currently trapped or kidnapped, living in someone's house, abused, used as a slave, sexually abused. They could be right next door and you'd have no idea. A completely normal neighbor with a dark secret. I work in childcare. One of my co-workers discovered a situation like this when she was younger and just started babysitting. This middle-aged lady had a young immigrant girl tied up in her house for years. This lady used to babysit my coworker. Her family was on very friendly terms with her. Yellowstone is a giant supervolcano. If it blows, things on this planet will go really bad really fast. If you have a parasite in your body, there's a slim chance you'll know about it before it pops out of your skin or leaves through the back door. Also, some parasites pop out of skin. We have trace amounts of iron, gold, nickel, and silver within our bloodstream, which means with enough people you could drain them of their blood, dilute it down to separate it, and eventually be able to make a full ingot of iron, gold, nickel, and silver. To elaborate on this further, it would take nearly 300 average adult men drained of their blood to have enough iron to forge a long sword. You could literally have a sword forged from the blood of your enemies, as the fantasy novels say, if you had 300 enemies. 1/5 girls and 1/8 boys are sexually abused before the age of 18. Almost all of the predators were family or friends of family. Most people never bring it up, even with friends or people they trust. Even for those of us who do, it doesn't usually help in the long term. It is legal in 30 U.S. states for medical students to perform pelvic examinations on women without their consent if they are unconscious or under anesthesia. Your phone is likely spying on you right now as you're reading this. Around 30% of black men aged 30 have an asymptomatic, undiagnosed tumor in their prostate on autopsy, increasing to about 55% by age 70. Get your screenings. At least a quarter of the people responding to this post will develop cancer at some point in their lives. Yee. Me. The other 3/4 may scroll on in peace, tack in the hit on this one. The girl from the most extreme and illegal porno days' destruction is still alive to this day and says that she can't have any kids for how fucked up her insides are. Or oh, vertical bar. Okay, that's enough internet for today. You are more likely to be killed by someone you know, family or friend, or maybe both. About 85% of adult autistics are not in full-time employment. Many through prejudice and the fact that traditional interview process is loaded against them. Most employers who take the gamble and make reasonable adjustments find that the benefits to the company far outweigh the negatives. This is going to end up on an AskReddit Instagram page. You can condition someone with zero personal/family history of mental illness into having some very severe mental illnesses within about a week. Wish you could do the opposite. There are more airplanes at the bottom of the ocean than submarines in the sky. Hey. You could die any second. Even 5 seconds from now. And you don't even realize it yet. Things you can't see can kill you. Both a good and bad thing. Everything ends at some time. One day you will die. One day everyone you knew will die. One day you'll be completely forgotten. Not if I eat the Mona Lisa. You can be seriously injured from a sneeze. Bored ducklings can become cannibals. You have no way of really knowing if everyone experiences reality and consciousness the same way you do. The fact that either we are alone in this massive universe or we aren't. A human head can remain conscious for around 4 to 20 seconds after being decapitated. The decapitated head can blink and can change expressions. If you own a gun, the person you are most likely to shoot with it, by a mile, is yourself. 2 possibilities exist. Either we are alone in the universe, or we aren't. Both are equally terrifying. Marriage either ends in death or divorce. The human brain named itself and proclaimed itself one of the most advanced things on the planet. Here is one that I learned last month. So, one of my colleague who is a history teacher was talking to another member of staff about WW2 in the break room. The Japanese had an operation planned for 5 weeks after the A-bomb to blanket San Francisco, San Diego, and L.A. with plague-infested fleas. Scary to think, if they had done that before the A-bomb and their subsequent surrender, how things could have been very different. We are our brains. Yet we aren't born knowing how we work. Child marriage is still legal in most U.S. states. Every second you live is 1 second closer to dying. Every 60 seconds in Africa are minute passes. If chronic wasting disease jumps to humans, the zombie apocalypse may become a real thing. Meat is meat. The thorough approach, I think, is something we should all do. All of us at some point should have to eat something we have killed, gutted, cleaned, and cooked. If you want to be vegetarian after that or not, so be it, but I think everyone needs to understand that meat was once part of a living, breathing creature. You have probably talked to a murderer at some point in a bar or a grocery store and never knew it. On average, a rat is within 3 meters of you at every given moment of your life. Ice astronauts, panic. In your closet. When are you coming out? And why not tell your parents first? Everyone is a villain in somebody's story. What was your favorite comment? Let us know below. And remember to like and subscribe, it helps a lot.